Well, I'm in the UK and it's above 10 degrees Celsius, making it the hottest day on record. So naturally I'm not going to step foot outside in this weather. Instead I'm going to wax lyrical to you all about the Fujifilm XT4. Helen and I went on a trip to the northeast of England recently, and after testing multiple cameras over the past year or so, it's here that I finally came to the conclusion that the Fujifilm XT4 is the best hybrid camera for both photography and video. Recently I've been trying to make myself a Hasselblad X-Pan by shooting an anamorphic lens via an X Pro 2. I'll go into this further during another video, but the point here being that whilst the X Pro 2 now shoots in 4K, thank you Fujifilm for your god-tier firmware updates, it's only in 30p, and it is an older non-stabilised sensor as well. The X100V, which we shoot a lot of B-roll on for this channel, only shoots in 4K 30, and you can't change the lenses on this one either. It does have a built-in ND filter though, so shooting video with it is easy. And this is useful because I often throw the camera at Helen and demand that she goes and records some cool whilst I lay back eating flaming hot twisty Cheetos. Then there's the Big Daddy GFX cameras. The GFX series is the series of cameras to own from Fujifilm if you want to get rid of all your money and the value of everything you own really fast. It also takes top-notch photographs due to its medium format 50 megapixel sensor, but it only shoots 1080p at 30 frames, which is fair enough because it's really a photography camera. But this doesn't really help me when I'm trying to capture award-winning 4K footage such as this and this. Move to Fuji's video-centric cameras and you've got the XH series. These are obviously good for video, or as good as a Fujifilm camera ever is for video, but they totally strip away the manual dials that make shooting photos so much more accessible. Anyway, the point being that I've now decided that the XT4 is the perfect hybrid of everything I wanted it to be between photos and video. One minute you're shooting hilariously average photographs, and then with one twist of the collar, you're shooting hilariously average video. It does remember your previous video settings, so if you shoot mainly 30 or 60p, then there's no need to go and change your shutter speed for the 180-degree rule, because your camera remembered the settings from the last time. But this doesn't account for the ND filter that you'll need in order to adhere to that pesky 180-degree rule. Well, thankfully I'm an absolute genius, and I'm about to share with you a secret technique that no one else has ever come up with. See, back in the day before either Manfrotto collectively decided to wrong me personally, or someone out there hoarded the world's supply of these things, rendering them absolutely inaccessible, Manfrotto used to make a product called Zoom. Zoom was a series of different size adapter rings that converted your filters and lenses to be magnetised. So if you did manage to pick up a few different sizes of these because they've become as rare as rocking horse then you can make any lens attached to any filter magnetically. Just screw a ring onto the lens and the other onto the filter and you're good to go. Now all I do is walk around grabbing B-roll with the XT4 with the ND filter attached, and then when I want to fire off some pictures I just pull the ND filter off. Take the shots and then reapply the ND ready for more video work. It's easy and it's fast, just like your dad. The video is stabilised on the XT4 too, and you can't say that about many of Fujifilm's camera bodies. I'm not saying that you get absolute S-tier video out of this thing, but the stabilisation really does help, especially when you pair it with a stabilised lens, such as the 70-300 or Fuji's kit lens. My first wife, the 16-55 f2.8, is a beastly size, but it's not stabilised for some ungodly reason. I'll cover this lens in another video. There is one thing I do hate about video on the XT4 though, and that is when changing exposure. It doesn't just do it in a smooth, gradual way. It very noticeably steps up and down in big chunks, which, ironically, makes me want to blow chunks. The focus isn't as sticky as it could be either. This is just something that you have to be aware of before shooting and lock the focus before you hit the record button. Would be nice if it actually worked though. And for my criteria of cameras, it does pretty much everything I want it to do. Features that allow me to dictate how the image looks in camera, in-body image stabilisation for distant and low light work, as well as manual dials for fast, easy access to settings. The footage I get is pretty much us documenting new places we're visiting and then using the footage in these videos, or to look back on it later and reminisce over a time where we hated each other slightly less. For this to be as stress-free as possible, there just needs to be a fewer number of steps. No changing cameras, no digging into settings to get exposure right, just pick up the camera, quickly check some external settings and shoot. I'll stop humping this camera's leg one day, but in all honesty I just wanted to release another video and didn't know what to make it about. So, there you are. Consider yourself duped.